Welcome to my channel Usman Khan, the Information Planet. King Charles and Queen Camilla coronation moments that you did not see on TV. Hundreds of millions of people tuned to watch royal celebs and dignitaries descend on London, but there were moments that camera missed. Here are the list. We go. It's 3 minutes past midday and a downpour of rain has been steadily eroding the festive atmosphere at Westminster Abbey for the past 3 hours. Suddenly, the increasingly irritable mood waving through the hundreds of thousands of royal fans crowding the area evaporates as piercing voice cuts through the noise with just 4 words: God save the King. It's been 74 years in the making, and after braving the grim forecast and cramped conditions behind the barricades across central London for endless hours on this rainy Saturday, the moment we all have been waiting for has finally arrived. Charles has been crowned as king. As a historic act unfolds meters away, unseen to all of us waiting outside, the public, exhausted and fidgety just seconds earlier, enthusiastically picks up the cry, shouting it up and down the streets of Westminster. It's followed by a celebrity chorus of national anthem and deafening roar of cheers and applause. It's finally the day of King Charles and Queen Camilla coronation, as hundreds of millions of people tune to observe this small section of London. I am smack bang at the center of it, with the dozens of dignitaries, smatterings of celebrities, hello Katy Perry, Lionel Richie and Dame Judi Dench, international monarchs, plus of course the British royal family. The global TV broadcast has had plenty to keep its audience captivated. Just outside the famous Abbey, however, is a massive crowd made up of both Brits and visiting tourists who have camped out to become part of history. Being among them as the action unfolded meant I had a front row seat to everything that was not caught by the masses of TV cameras, and it was an experience that I won't ever forget. Having been on the ground at the very same spot for the late Queen's funeral in September, I knew it was not worth taking any chance when it came to getting down this early. Given the Queen's overwhelming popularity and the outpouring of grief when she died, plus Saturday's rainy forecast, I was stunned to discover an even larger crowd pouring into designated areas along the mall outside Buckingham Palace and down towards Westminster well before the sun was even up. The entire professional route was completely packed and alive with activity by 4 a.m. as keen royal fans decked out in their British-themed costumes settled in for the long haul, and a number of loudly buzzing helicopters regularly circled overhead. Thousands of security personnel, police officers and members of the armed forces created a ring of steel around the designated path, and with plenty more patrolling the streets, some in high-vis vests and uniforms, others waving through the crowds undercover. Huge metal and wooden barricades blocked off of steel that had been opened just a day earlier, occasionally creating a stressful environment for getting to where one needed to be. I did set out from a nearby hotel at 4 a.m. on the dot and quickly realized napping a decent spot was going to require some serious wrangling, as pastel sunrise lit up the sky around Westminster just after 5 a.m. I was firmly in place in one of the closest public spots to the Abbey itself, completely unable to leave without forfeiting my prime location. Minute by minute, extra bodies piled in behind me, and within an hour, it was at least 10 people deep, and there were still 5 long hours to go. Royal fans all decked out. The basic setup of the coronation crowd was made to have looked almost identical to that of the Queen's funeral last September. But there was one major difference in the costumes. More than 7 months on from the day the nation somber united in grief, punters were now going all out of celebration of the historic and deeply British event. It was a sea of Union Jacks, cloths and accessories completely covered in the iconic flag, with theme or it is clearly that must have item for the particular royal event. Others were dressed in the in full garden party ensembles or cocktail dress, fancy headwears and elaborate hairstyles. Excited cheers. The lengthy lulls in activity were worsened as the rain in hours before the ceremony was set to get underway, as people stood shoulder to shoulder with nowhere to sit and nothing to do but wait. Despite their discomfort, a sense of national pride was thick in the air. Members of the armed forces and Metropolitan Police intermittently marched past in the back, eliciting huge cheers each time. Occasionally, a long voice would randomly shout, "God save the king," sparking echoes throughout the crowd and save types for no clear reason a Mexican wave. The main event, the Royal Extravaganza. Finally, just after 10 a.m., an excited buzz began to roll through the crowd as eager fans checking their phones in the patchy reception got word that Charles and Camilla had been sighted leaving Buckingham Palace and were on their way. The mood elevated from the lackluster exhaustion to borderline chaotic energy as everyone immediately surged forward in anticipation of the big arrival. When the moments came, it was as much of a spectacle as we could have hoped for. The royal couple, dressed in a crisp white and traveling in a gloriously real diamond jubilee state coach, waving to the hundreds of thousands of fans scoping endless rain to greet them. With no screens to view proceeding with the ceremony, the action died down for a brief period until the moment of crowning was heralded by the call, "God save the king," and excitement ramped back up. But it was a return to journey to Buckingham Palace everyone had really come to see. I have been on a royal tours, and as mentioned, I was in the midst of the Westminster crowd on the day of the Queen's funeral, so I have grown pretty accustomed to the buzz that surrounds a significant royal sighting, and I figure I was largely prepared for another one. Let me tell you something, whack in a couple of majestic and historic carriages, and all the top-tier royals who have got a whole different ball game. Punters by this point, absolutely soaked by the relentless rain and completely drained by the lengthy wait, and were shrieking with excitement as they were presented with the once-in-a-lifetime spectacle. The Queen and King, surrounded by a procession of thousands and travelling in the glorious gold state coach, waved right out the window to us all. Moments later, and based on the crowd response, arguably the main event rolled by in the form of Prince William, Kate, Princess of Wales, and three children, Prince George 9, Princess Charlotte 8, and little Prince Louis 5. The wildly popular family smiled and shared waves the excited royal fans lining both sides of the street as they traveled past in their coronation finest. "It's Kate, did you see her? She's a beautiful, look at her." I heard women around me gasping, "Oh," as others gushed over the impeccably presented young Princess Charlotte. "Did you see her little wave?" Throw in another carriage of family members, this one packed with the Duke and Duchess of Edinburgh with their two children, Lady Lucy Windsor and James Earl of the Wessex, plus the very well-linked Princess Anne on horseback, and you have got yourself the cream of the crop of royal sighting. The Harry Charter. Look, Prince Harry caught a lonely figure as he ripped into the UK on his own on the eve of the coronation, and quietly took his place in the Abbey, a distant third row, to offer his support to his dad on the big day. Kudos to him, and I have even add extra credit for appearing to really tried not to put focus on this occasion. So it must be noted that, well, while basically everyone around me was talking endlessly about him and Meghan Markle, in the hours we all crammed together, it was objective not his fault. But let me tell you, without even trying, the gap between the major royal sighting, he was easily the hottest topic of the day. Getting out of there. Life is a journey of swings and roundabouts, and the significance of being present to witness such a historic event in such a true come overall of the day most grueling moments. We are talking to no access to bathroom supplies, shelters from the rain. You get my drift. I hope you like this video. Don't forget to subscribe my channel.